Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone doing? What day it is? Oh, what day it is? What day is it? Thursday, December 7th. I'm in a little bit of a not the best mood today. I'm not sure if anyone saw my tweet, but I just had a very uh overwhelming 24 hours when it came to the survivor community. And, let's just say I'm not feeling good, honestly, about everything I have been hearing from survivors. And wait, why am I not seeing? Let's see why this is. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah. So I'm not feeling the best today, which I'm not going to pretend. Hi, Anna C. Hi, Sam. Hi, Juliet. Hi, Becca. Sia. I saw there's birthdays happening in here. Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday. I saw Muhammad in here. Hi, Muhammad. I see you. I've seen you a few times in the chat and I haven't been able to say hello, but I see you. Yeah, you guys, to be honest with you, I'm feeling a little bit sad. I'm feeling a little bit triggered. I'm feeling just strange. And one of the main feelings that I'm feeling is that survivors are constantly having to do all of the emotional that cheered me up actually. But survivors are having to do a lot of the emotional labor for others constantly. Oh, hi, David. Hello, hello. Would you ever consider doing a deep dive on Jeffrey Epstein? You know what? Oh, and yeah, we are now at 29.7. Thank you so much, David. You know what? I should. Honestly, and I actually have to rewatch that Netflix documentary because I saw it when it first came out. And I don't even know if I was totally prepared for it. I have to rewatch it now with all of my current wisdom and knowledge to properly digest it. But yes, I am definitely interested in doing a deep dive on Jeffrey Epstein. We should definitely do that. Hello, e-predators community. So, the emotional labor that survivors are constantly having to endure is just getting exhausting. And also the lack of allies is also getting exhausting. And not only the lack of allies, but how potential allies are scared to be allies because they might lose, work opportunities. And so I'm hearing things from survivors over here that is deeply concerning when it comes to corruption, etc. And then on the other side, I'm hearing a lot of people who want to be vocal about things, want to be, public allies, but they're afraid, about not being able to work again. And not only are they worried about not being able to work again, but they do want to do the work when it comes to survivors' stories. And at the same time, it is about the career. And all I personally keep seeing is survivors are the ones who keep losing opportunities. They keep losing work opportunities. Their reputation gets smeared. They get harassment, etc. And it really seems like survivors are always on the front lines. And it's exhausting. I'm obviously on the front lines every single day now. And, I did choose this work in the sense where I choose to be here every day. But I just want to remind everyone here that my aspirations were very different before I experienced what I experienced. Not only were my aspirations different before I experienced those things, but when I fully started to realize, you know, what exactly happened to me, that really changed my life forever, which I'm sure a lot of survivors here know what that's like. But then as I started to come forward and I started to deal with media and I started to deal with lawyers and, everything else, I realized how quickly it was almost going to be impossible for me to fit into the industry that I once upon a time wanted to be in, because I loved acting. I liked being on set, to be quite honest with you, when it wasn't creepy. When Dan Schneider wasn't there, I enjoyed. Hi, Sia. I'm sorry you're having a tough day. I hope this is enough after YouTube cut to get you the box of chalks. You do so much for all of us. I'm so grateful for you. No, Sia, thank you. And honestly, this community is what really keeps me going. And this is why it's important to build this, because I know I'm not the only survivor out there that feels this way. And, a lot of survivors' aspirations have been destroyed. Not only the ones that have publicly come forward, but PTSD and trauma can get in the way of your aspirations. How are you supposed to block that whenever you want to? You know what I mean? If a trigger comes up or a flashback, or you're just not feeling good that day and you don't want to get out of bed, but you have to go to work, there's a lot of survivors that are currently on disability that a lot of people don't talk about. And essay it's crippling. It can be crippling to so many individuals. And I know I sit here a lot of the time and, I'm feeling very hopeful. And though at the same time, I want to remind survivors here that I'm not always feeling hopeful. This morning, I wasn't feeling hopeful. Last night, I wasn't feeling that hopeful. And I just want to remind everyone here that that's okay. That's okay to feel that way, because it's a reality. It's a reality. This is hard work. It's hard work getting the world to care about survivors. It's hard. A lot of people don't care about survivors. They don't understand. And they read headlines in the media that are so lazy and, in my opinion, dictated by a bunch of men in positions of power, that when they read it, how are they really supposed to understand what we go through? They have to know us, right? Or they have to meet us to actually see what it's like being a survivor. Oh, I see people in here. Josh, I'm back home from Ohio since Tuesday night. I'm still adjusting from Easter time to Pacific time. Hi, Josh. It's so nice to see you here. It's so nice to see you here. Welcome back from Ohio. So, one of the main reasons why I like being here is because I want the world to see a survivor. I want the world to hear a survivor's perspective on all the things that are currently happening when it comes to alleged predators and survivors. I want them to hear it from a survivor. And the whole point of this was to create a survivor-centric, survivor-led media outlet. Because when I started, speaking to different media outlets, I realized that media aren't necessarily the good guys. And it's not that they don't want to be good, but they get intimidated by the really, really bad guys. I feel like I'm talking to my daughter right now. Like if I were to explain this to Nova, this is like how I would explain it. But they get intimidated by the really, really bad guys. And even if there are good people in these media outlets, etc., they do get intimidated out of their good intentions. And this is a very serious problem because survivors already have to go up against the really, really bad guys, right? But then if there's the, neutral position, being also really, really afraid of the bad guys, then it's very difficult for our stories to be told. And not only to be told, but to be told properly, factually. And, so, we all know that I've covered Diplo quite a few times. I have protested Diplo at his show. Actually, let's see if I can. Where are you? Where are you? Let me see if I can find. Where are you? No, that's not you. Oh, I wish I could find it. I wish I had it open. But basically, I protested Diplo at one of his all ages show. And that was the first Eat Predators protest. And that's actually where Eat Predators came from, was from the protest sign. He was playing an Eat the Rich all ages show in the middle of, criminal investigation, civil lawsuits, etc. And I wanted to make sure that the audience was at least aware of these things that Diplo was accused of. And so my mom watched our daughter Nova, and my husband and I and a few other survivors showed up to this ice cream truck. There it is. There it is. Here we go. Yeah. There's Diplo. There's Diplo. And so we went into the middle of the crowd. And to be honest with you, it was a very eye-opening experience for me personally, because we had people tear up our signs, get very aggressive with us, tear up the signs. There was one girl who literally grabbed my phone from me, tried to break my phone while I was going live there. And it freaked me out because I thought, hey, I thought we were pretty progressive here. There's a bunch of people here, living in Los Angeles, around my age, younger. And for some reason, those signs, even though we were peacefully protesting, really showed me how people felt about survivors. And when I left that show, I realized, wow, I was very, very naive. I thought after the Me Too movement that people were better all of a sudden. Like the Me Too movement was just like this special fairy dust that just kind of helped survivors be respected and seen. And I realized that night that wasn't the case. There was a lot of work to be done. And that's when I started to realize I wanted to protest. And this is way before it really became, Eat Predators what it is now. I ended up finding out, obviously, that Diplo shared the same lawyer as my personal predator. And I was very freaked out when I found out during my litigation case that he has been accused of something horrific. Actually, I'm just going to show it here. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. Okay, here, you can show my screen for a second. There he is. So that's Bryan Freedman. And yeah, so when I was in the middle, I can't even say what his headline is because I would be kicked out of YouTube even reading that headline right there. This is the lawyer. This is Bryan Freedman. And, when I was in the middle of my litigation case, I found out from my lawyers that I would have to be deposed, most likely, by Bryan Freedman. And that was really scary after reading his 800 pages of his lawsuit in the 80s. I did not feel comfortable going into a deposition, being deposed about my personal trauma essay by someone who has been accused of something very similar to my predator. And I asked my lawyers, can I say no? Like, can I ask for a different lawyer within the firm? And they told me, no, you don't really have those rights. Like, wait a minute. You're telling me as a survivor, I can be deposed by someone who has been accused of this, and I just have to sit there and take that? And they said yes. And that gave me a huge realization for my daughter's future, was survivors deserve full disclosure. And it wasn't even about the survivors being deposed by Bryan Freedman. No, wasn't just about them. But it was about the survivors being represented by him. And you have a very close, obvious, dynamic with your lawyer. And if you are a survivor, it is pretty easy for you to get triggered in general. And I just felt if survivors knew that, then they could make an informed decision if they want to be around that person. Because I knew, me personally, I couldn't. I couldn't even be in the same room with him getting deposed. So what do you do about that, right? You're not going to be able to change the bar laws. And I didn't know what to do. But after, protesting Diplo, I thought maybe I can bring some awareness around this through protesting. And so I protested Bryan Freedman's law firm 2 times. And the reason why I did it was because I want my daughter to be able to make informed decisions when it comes to who she is hiring to represent her. And also, I would never in a million years want my daughter to be deposed by someone like that. If she didn't want to, she should have a choice. So this morning, yesterday when I got home, I realized that the Pitchfork article came out in regards to Diplo. And everyone here at ePredators probably knows that I interviewed Shelly when it came to her police report. And I interviewed Gabs, who shared her story with us bravely about her interactions with Diplo when she was only 15 years old. He sent her a DM that said, "You look 15," with a heart emoji. Yeah. And there's a lot more to that story that we'll be going into. But apparently, Gabs was supposed to be in this article. And something that I've noticed a lot when it comes to the Diplo articles is this one reported survivor, Shelly, always ends up being alone. When we all know, after spending a lot of time on the internet, that she is not alone. There have been multiple women that have told their stories about their accusations when it comes to Diplo, but somehow, always in the media, she's alone. And it's heartbreaking for me as a survivor because I was alone too when it came to my predator, Michael Milosh. And I had to do that alone. And let me tell you, it's really hard. It's really hard in a man world because basically, if you are the only one, then you're a liar. And if there's multiple, then you are the one creating a conspiracy. So you never win either way. But I will say from a survivor standpoint that it is a lot harder being alone. A lot harder. And, you know, prior to this article coming out, Azelia Banks posted on her Instagram about her accusations, her alleged experience with Diplo. And you know what? I didn't see any publications covering it. I didn't. Maybe if you guys can find it, please let me know. But I haven't. And looking at Pitchfork's article and not seeing Gabs, not seeing Azelia Banks, not seeing the fact that Kesha, I mean, huge pop star, right? What an inspiration to survivors. She pulled out of her show with Diplo. Nothing about that either. Shelly was all alone. And my fear around that as a survivor is that the other side can zero in on just Shelly and make the whole world feel like she's just this, crazy woman who's out to get him. And, the thing that happens a lot when it comes to survivors coming forward publicly against public figures. And it made me really sad. Not only did it make me sad, but we must understand when it comes to Diplo and his reported survivors, he targets, allegedly, young, Black girls and women. And even though I had to deal with a lot of cards stacked against me just as a survivor coming forward, they weren't exactly the same as how I've noticed it with Diplo's reported survivors. Very, very different. And one of the examples is Pitchfork actually published my open letter. When I came forward, hey, Pitchfork, I'm talking to you now. Remember me? Yeah, you published my open letter with screenshots. Screenshots. Onto Pitchfork. I think it was like 24 to 48 hours after I wrote my open letter and posted it. Now, fast forward, Gabs, for example, she's come forward. She's shown her screenshots. She has come on the show and spoken about her accusations, etc. And somehow she's not in there. And I find that very interesting. Why? And then I woke up this morning and I had to see the reported survivors of Diplo having to take on a bunch of emotional labor to clarify things from that article. Because that article left someone out, actually left multiple people out. Azelia Banks. I mean, Azelia Banks is huge. Huge. And we're going to play her her voice memo today about what she had to say when it came to her accusations against Diplo. All of these women are missing. But it was so quick for Pitchfork to, in 48 hours, share my open letter about Michael Milosh. Why? What's the difference? I don't personally see one there, and I saw that someone joined. Hi, Evan. Welcome to the Munchies. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, power to Gabs. Power to survivors. It takes a lot to tell our fucking stories. A lot. And, you know, what I heard was that she was speaking with Pitchfork, gave over the evidence that she had. Yeah. Spoke with them just to be erased. And it's horrible. It's a horrible feeling to have to be re-traumatized, speak to a complete stranger and tell them about what happened for months to just end up being erased. And so we're gonna boost the survivors, the reported survivors that Pitchfork felt comfortable leaving out of the narrative. We're gonna go into anonymous sources that I have heard from when it came to alleged intimidation tactics that were happening behind the scenes. And I learned a lot, actually, in the last week. And I know that the viewers here have heard me speak about crisis managers, people that get hired to help, you know, deal with the flames or whatever you want to call it, when powerful men or sometimes powerful women get intense allegations against them. When they're powerful, they're able to hire these extremely expensive crisis managers. And what does a survivor have? Most of the time, nobody. Nothing. They don't have $2,000, $3,000 to spend a month to boost their story or intimidate even the other side. None of that. Survivors have nothing. But these alleged predators, their lawyers, etc., have the money. And so I learned a lot. I thought crisis managers were just for the powerful individuals being accused of something. I found out that there are now these crisis managers that work for lawyers, that work with lawyers. And, you know, I spoke about this a few weeks ago, that PR, public relations, was rebranded by a man named Edward Bernays. He changed the word propaganda to public relations. And we all know why, right? Germany. Propaganda didn't really have a good ring to it anymore. So he rebranded it as public relations. And so when you think about PR, these huge PR firms that are working for not only these alleged predators, but working for big corporations, and their job is to make sure that the public sees things in the ways in which the person who is paying them wants them to be seen. And that's just a fact. And as Ben Shapiro, I do not like Ben Shapiro, but facts don't care about your feelings. They just don't. That's a fact. That's what PR firms do. And it's one thing when they are protecting these corporations. We already know corporations are assholes. We already know that it's capitalism, best interest. But when it comes to these types of allegations, it gets very sticky and slippery. And I personally have a problem with it because it's not fair. The power dynamic in that situation is not fair. It's not fair. So then you read an article, and it could have been 2 months this article was being written, and the other side that has all of these powerful individuals working for them around the clock, getting paid to sculpt a story in such a way that, in my opinion, isn't fair. It becomes mechanical. You don't really feel what's actually going on, and things are not included. Like Gabs, like Azelia Banks, like all the other brave reported survivors. They're not in there. Why are they not in there? We'll find out a little bit today. But I just wanted to be honest with the world. This is how I'm feeling. And I wanted to give an intro before going into all of this because it's important to give context before we read this article. Because, allegedly, this article took 3 months to get out there. And it was based on things that have already been public knowledge to the world when it came to Sloan or me or, even the reported survivors' tweets. This has been known. And it took 3 months to, what I read in there was just all this legal, it was everything that was in a legal document. So we're going to begin reading this Pitchfork article. I'm not going to go necessarily into the ways to support the channel today until I'm done because I just want to make sure I go right into this because this is very, very, very important to discuss today. And I don't even feel comfortable right now, going into that. So we'll begin with the Pitchfork article. So the first thing I noticed, we can show my screen, Adam. The first thing I noticed here was the frickin' headline. Diplo accused of distributing revenge pee in New York, new police reports. Which, sorry, that was a Freudian slip. But new police report. Do you notice how that headline right there, doesn't state that he's under investigation? It makes it kind of feel like there's just this police report, which already is pretty major news, obviously. But it just makes it kind of feel like, oh, there's a police report. Not that he's currently being investigated for this. And another side note to this is that this is a separate police report. Because Diplo has been accused of this before. That's right. He's been accused of this before. This is the second time. So it kind of feels like it's old news. I don't know if anyone's been following Diplo. We can go full screen for a second. I don't know if anyone's been following Diplo or not with all of his allegations, arbitration, etc. But one of the key notes in it was about the revenge P. And a lot of headlines, I mean a lot of headlines, got it wrong. I don't know if it was purposefully or not, but they got it wrong and stated that this arbitration win, you know, when it came to Diplo, was in regards to the revenge P. And you know, Pitchfork, I'm talking to you, man. You got it wrong. The original headline for Pitchfork's article when it came to arbitration was this like win in arbitration in regards to revenge P, which I will be showing that original hyperlink to that because I had to reach out to Matthew Strauss at Pitchfork about that. And what I've been hearing is that these survivors have been dealing with 3 months of this re-traumatization and then having to deal with a fact checker as well. Where was the fact checker when it came to the survivor? Where was he? And not only was it such a mess up, it was defamatory towards the reported survivor, and it smeared her name. Now, if this fuck up that Pitchfork did when it came to the reported survivor, Shelly, if this happened to Diplo, Pitchfork would be what they like to say, sued. I mean, sued. If Diplo had to deal with what Shelly had to deal with when it came to this mess up, very different. And so you can see, this is my personal opinion here when I'm looking at this situation. When you look at it, you go, oh, that's because probably Pitchfork is more afraid of the person who's in a position of power, because the person who's in a position of power also has resources, expensive resources like powerful lawyers that know what they're doing, crisis managers, etc. And so they're more apprehensive when it comes to publishing something than when it comes to publishing something that is false when it comes to the survivor. So I had to reach out to Matthew Strauss. And then guess who else had to reach out to Matthew Strauss? The survivor. And that should not be what the survivor's having to do that day when she is being traumatized by what the headlines are. When the headlines are just all false and defamatory. And she doesn't have the resources to change that narrative. She doesn't have that. She can't flex to Pitchfork, I'm gonna sue you, and send a 20-page article to Pitchfork. She also can't do that because she's re-traumatized. So she has to end up sending an email to Matthew Strauss. And this is not saying Matthew Strauss is a bad guy. Not at all. Actually, the people who are working at these institutions are good guys. But there is the guys at the top that they have to, you know. So she emails Matthew Strauss and they correct the headline. They corrected it. But how long would that headline have gone around if it wasn't for me being like, wait a minute, this arbitration does not have to do with the accusations when it comes to the revenge P. And then, so I'm a survivor having to do this. And then Shelly is going to have to do that as well. And then, though, you must remember that the rest of these publications, so, you know, Vanity Fair, all of them, they're all kind of lazy. And so they just pick up whatever is circulating. And I really do believe that media savvy individuals know how when the first headline comes out, that's most likely going to be the headline that starts circulating around everywhere. And sure enough, it was. It's called media literacy. That's right. Media literacy. They know that once one headline begins like that, most likely all of them are going to be saying the fucking same thing. And guess what? Yeah, that was what ended up happening. All of these headlines, Diplo wins arbitration in regards to SA, Revenge P, when the arbitration did not have to do with that. Imagine what the survivor, you were a survivor, reported survivor, as some like to call them, alleged survivors, whatever you want to call them. Imagine that's everywhere. That's everywhere. And you can't do anything about it really because it's already began. What are you going to do? Hit up every single media outlet? No, you're exhausted already. One is enough. One is enough. And I don't even think Matthew ended up responding, but at least it was switched over, I guess, right? At least. But the damage was done. And what my point is, if these individuals want things to be fair in these articles, you know, to make sure they're non-biased, etc., then it better be fucking fair. It better be real fair. Because where was the fact checker when it came to that headline? Where was he? He just took the day off. So starting there, this headline makes me feel like it's still trying to, in my opinion, repeat the same narrative, this revenge P. So if you already saw those headlines when it came to arbitration and it came to revenge P, you're just thinking, oh shit, this is like the same thing that already he won. Oh, it's the same thing he won. But no, this is actually a different scenario because when you read the article, we're going to actually learn that it is a different situation. But also it leaves out a lot of other key information like investigation and the fact that Shelly, reported survivor, got granted a temporary restraining order and DIPLO'S got denied. And I don't know, as a survivor, this is just my feeling for the day, that if it was Shelly who had her TRO declined and not granted by the judge, that would have been the headline. You know what I mean? It would have been like, you know, this police report and, you know, survivor's TRO gets denied. But no, it's very confusing. So, okay, let's get into this. So at least I gave you my spiel when it comes to headlines and the narrative that's now in place. A California woman who is involved in civil litigation with the producer told police that Diplo sent photos of her to another person for revenge. Diplo's lawyer, Oh, yeah, show my screen. Diplo's lawyer has said the report is part of an ongoing smear campaign against the musician. This is written by Carly Lewis. A California woman filed a police report with the Los Angeles Police Department against Diplo in August, alleging that he distributed photographs of her without permission. Pitchfork has learned. Did you learn, Pitchfork? The woman, Shelly Auguste, has been involved in a legal battle with the superstar producer. Superstar producer? Is he really a superstar? I'm sorry, I didn't realize that. I haven't seen that before. Superstar producer. Born Thomas Wesley Pence since 2020. And this is the second time she has accused him of distributing revenge P. Diplo was not charged criminally over the initial allegation. In November, the LAPD submitted Auguste's new case to the Los Angeles City Attorney's Office, where it is currently under review. Auguste is currently suing Diplo for SB, gender V, intentional intrusion into private affairs, B, A, defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and fraud, as well as violation of the Rolfe Civil Rights Act and violation of the Tom Baines Civil Rights Act, with a civil trial currently scheduled for April 2024. Diplo publicly denied her allegations in October 2021 after she filed her initial claim in June of that year. Diplo is currently suing Auguste for stalking, trespassing, and distributing private materials. The lawsuit filed by Diplo in April 2021 alleges Auguste to be dangerously unstable and claims she made relentless efforts to communicate with him after he ended their relationship, including through fake social media accounts. When reached, okay, first of all, can we get to what's actually happening? What's actually happening? He's under review for a police report. It's a crime image-based essay. Pretty serious. And most likely, the reported survivor would have to hand over to the police, detective, etc., the evidence of this, right? We're talking about police. We're not talking about civil anymore. This is not about civil. This is about legit police. Under review. You got to come with the receipts. Do you know what I mean? Or if you don't, this could be trouble. But you have to come with the receipts. And I'm not saying that I know for a fact if she came with receipts or not, but if it's under review, what I've learned through the criminal system is that you usually have to have shown the receipts. And this is all like, let's talk about the civil suit. Like, we've all spoken about these civil suits forever, in my personal opinion. We've seen the headlines a bunch of times. We've seen the headlines when it came to the first police report. We got it. Let's just get right into what needs to be said when it comes to temporary restraining order and, what's actually happening. All right. When reached by Pitchfork for comment on the August police report, Diplo's attorney, here he is, Bryan Freedman. I'll just wait for, the emotes, the Bryan Freedman emojis to come through. Evan, we love you. Your voice is way more important than you realize. We appreciate you so much. Evan, thank you so much for being here. It is truly an honor. It's scary sometimes, but I'm happy in the ways that I can be to be here. So thank you. There's Bryan Freedman. Okay, so do we remember Bryan Freedman? Wait, where are you? Okay, so this Bryan Freedman. This is Bryan Freedman. This is Diplo's lawyer. Okay, so Freedman added, now Miss Auguste is at it yet again, but West will defend himself, and just as he done every time, Miss Auguste has defamed, harassed, and ATTACKED him and his family. He will win. Okay, cool, bro. Shelly Auguste has said in her civil litigation that Diplo first contacted her on Twitter in 2014 when she was 17 years old and he was 35 or 36 years old. They formed an intermittent online correspondence predicated on her sending him photos, according to the lawsuit, and met in person at a nightclub in 2018. According to the complaint filed by Diplo, he and Auguste first met over social media around 2018. In 2019, when Auguste was 22 years old, the two had S for the first time. In her complaint, Auguste alleges that Diplo recorded the blank on his cell phone without consent, and blank, 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 without consent. According to both Auguste's lawsuit against Diplo and Diplo's lawsuit against Auguste, they had S again in July 2019 after Diplo invited Auguste to his hotel room. Auguste's lawsuit claims she was highly intoxicated and barely able to walk or see straight, but also describes their first S interaction that evening as consensual. However, the complaint also describes a second S encounter from the same evening. Auguste claims in her lawsuit that Diplo blanked her non-consensually while she told him no and tried to fight him off before getting dressed and running out of the hotel room crying. As described in Auguste's lawsuit, Diplo and Auguste then entered into a tumultuous cycle. In September 2019, according to her complaint, Auguste confronted Diplo at a party, claiming that he had given her a blank transmitted blank. After insisting he did not have one, she claims he ignored her. After February 2020, according to the complaint, he invited her to his house. When she arrived, he texted her saying he was not home, she claims. In competing civil litigation, Diplo says Auguste arrived unannounced and that he felt uneasy about the incident. It does not mention the claim that he gave her the blank, 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 but he publicly called the allegation not true. The complaint claims that Diplo appeared to get pressure from putting down Miss Auguste and that he knew she was an impressionable and vulnerable young woman as he had broomed her since she was a teenager. Diplo's complaint describes him as having suffered emotional distress during this time period. In November 2020, Auguste sought and was granted a temporary restraining order against Diplo. At the time, Freedman, Diplo's lawyer, said that she has been harassing Diplo and his family for more than a year, and he has repeatedly refused to stop and has refusedly stopped doing so. Diplo also secured his own restraining order against Auguste. In July 2021, Auguste filed a police report accusing Diplo of recording. It is so far deep in here. I'm sorry. I understand the getting it all in there, but it's so far in there. Where is what's going on right now? Where is what's going on right now? This is like, it's like, you know, when you go in, you know, when you're trying to find like your t-shirt and your like closet's a mess, you're just like, okay, but I'm really just want to get the t-shirt. This is what it feels like. It's like, okay, all right, I got that. Okay. But where is the thing that I clicked on for this? Like, why? I'm here for a reason. I want to hear what's currently going on. Why is it so deep in here? I don't even know what article. It feels like I'm reading the same article I've read, honestly, 100 times about Diplo. Like, this article has been done before. Whatever the ending is when it gets into what's actually currently happening, that's the new part. But this is like, I mean, let's be real. This is very manicured, in my opinion. This feels very, very, very manicured and very just... Let's get to the point, dude. This is why, honestly, these outlets, I don't know how much longer they're going to last, personally, because we can get this done so much quicker. Streaming, YouTube, you know, Twitter, TikTok. This is a disaster. If this is where media is going, legacy media, this is the downfall, because this is like, who's going to read this? I'm sorry. Who's going to read it? Who's going to read it? They read the first 3 paragraphs and they're just like, okay, they both sued each other. You know what I mean? They both sued each other. Okay. All right. Got it. Moving on to the next whatever headline. Sadly, that's how people are. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Okay. Sorry. In July 2021, Auguste filed a police report again accusing Diplo of recording and distributing as content without her permission. Auguste explained in her complaint that she sought legal action because a fake Twitter page, which she believes belonged to Diplo, shared an unredacted photo of her blank and blank online. The account posted the photo she alleges because she had shared her true personal experiences with Diplo on Twitter. At the time, California's statute of limitations gave victims only 1 year after the content was posted to pursue legal action. See, this is also a huge issue. Here's the statute of limitations again. 1 year only? Come on. It's like, what is it, a race? Like 1 year? That is so short. And also you have to have the resources, the therapy, the mental capacity. Like 1 year? Survivors aren't even like walking yet. We're not even walking yet when we figured out something. 1 year. So we're guessing this is what's going on here. California statute of limitations gave victims only 1 year after the content was posted to pursue legal action. An August case expired. Victims now have 1 year from the discovery of Revenge P to pursue legal action per Senate Bill 23. So it's changed. The Los Angeles City Attorney's Office did not elaborate on the reason for declining to pursue charges. Interesting. In January 2021, the two signed a dual restraining order agreement concurring not to disparage each other. In September 2022, an arbitrator determined that subsequent tweets and Instagram stories of Auguste constituted breaches of the agreement. Now remember, arbitration, when it comes to essay, Joe Biden has made it illegal in the workplace. So in a work environment, let's say you get essayed by your boss or by an employee, you know, like a coworker. You are going to most likely go to HR, and then most likely HR is going to try and put you into an arbitration situation. Most likely you already signed an agreement that if something happens in the workplace, you go straight to arbitration. And arbitration only protects the rich people. Okay, let's just get real. It protects the powerful people. You know why? Because arbitration costs like fucking $14,000 a day. $14,000 a day, and they're retired judges. They're retired judges. And sometimes these judges they're supposed to be picked by both parties, but what I've heard from different experiences of survivors being in these situations, that the lawyers who are representing these individuals with a lot more power, money, etc., they're the ones paying out these arbitrators daily. So, in my opinion, that already gives me a red flag, because if that arbitrator is getting hired $14,000 a day and maybe has been picked multiple times by that law firm, lawyer, etc., there is a possibility of favoring there. And I'm not saying it necessarily is happening here, but you have to understand that arbitration is not, there's no jury. You know what I mean? There's no jury when it comes to arbitration. It's a retired judge. It's honestly archaic. It's outdated. It was to protect big businesses so that if you slipped and fell, you know, in the workplace, we got to handle privately. Nobody else knows about it. Secrecy, secrecy, secrecy. Or when it comes to Scientology, for example, they have religious arbitration, which is, again, to protect Scientology. So arbitration already gives me the red flag, which is so sad that the headlines made it seem like arbitration was in regards to the essay Revenge P, when obviously we're learning right this second that's not what it was in regards to. And also arbitration, in my personal opinion, is spooky. It spooks me out. I would never want to be in arbitration personally. It doesn't have a good rep. There's not a good reputation when it comes to arbitration. So there's a little backstory there. Story of August constituted breaches of the agreement, resulting in a $1.2 million monetary award to Diplo. Great. $1.2 million award. Diplo. The media in tweets and Instagram stories in question, including a post showing a screenshot of a publicly stipulated protective order filed by Diplo, which would keep court testimony sealed from the public praise for California's then new Senate bill number 1141, which allowed family courts to consider coercive control as DV. A repost of Rihanna tweet saying, never underestimate a man's ability to make you feel guilty for his mistakes. $50,000, I think, on that. I don't know. Wait, does it say, why doesn't it say exactly? Wait, Pitchfork, you didn't even write what the fine was for each violation of the thing. I don't know what it is, but I remember reading somewhere $1,000 per violation. And we're learning what these violations were. It was a Taylor Swift and Rihanna tweet. And remember, the headlines when it came to Diplo, won this essay case, blah, blah, blah. Dude, he literally was able to put a judgment on this woman's head, basically, when it came to a tweet. A couple tweets. Rihanna tweet, Taylor Swift tweet, and Taylor Swift tweet, I'm guessing because I'm guessing the agreement was directly or indirectly, and so I guess this was indirectly in relation to him. That's how he personally felt. Wow, boy, though, is this very different than the TMZ headline I saw originally when it came to arbitration and everything else. So I was shocked, honestly, that wasn't properly told in the media originally. So the Taylor Swift lyrics, I don't regret it one bit because he had it coming. Okay. And a post supporting the woman who accused NFL player Deshaun Watson of SM in 2021. Okay. $50,000 or something. We're at $1.2 million judgment. Like, wow. In between the time of the dual restraining order agreement in January 2021 and the arbitration ruling in September 2022, Diplo and Auguste filed their competing lawsuits. Diplo filed his lawsuit against Auguste, alleging stalking, trespassing, distributing. Okay, we got there, we know. Shortly after Auguste filed her lawsuit, another woman also filed a suit against Diplo, alleging that she was coerced into performing OS on him at an after party in Las Vegas in 2019. So there was another lawsuit. She also alleged that Diplo filmed the alleged incident non-consensually. The woman withdrew her lawsuit within a month of its filing. An attorney for Diplo said upon the complaint's withdrawal, as we said when we first learned of this lawsuit, there was absolutely irrefutable evidence that proved that the allegations it contained were false. As soon as we shared that plethora of evidence with the plaintiff's lawyers, they recognized that they needed to withdraw their suit immediately. Okay. Auguste went to police with her new claim on Friday, August 18th, 2023, to report that she was the victim of RP. The police report states in the report, it's noted that Auguste told a police officer that she sent videos and photographs to Diplo voluntarily. Those items were for him only and not to distribute to others. She added that he distributed some of the videos and photographs of her online. God, this article, though, I'm not going to lie. Just let's go. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm reading the same line over. Am I tripping? Like, it's like the same line over and over again. It just feels, okay. All right, I'm sorry. I'm going in. Auguste explained in the report that they were the photographs that either Diplo took or she had given to him. Auguste, according to the police report, believes that Diplo is distributing the photographs because he is mad at her recently filing legal action against him. She stated that he wants to harass and embarrass her. Auguste was granted a new temporary restraining order. Here we go, I guess. We're here. Against Diplo on September 18th. On August 24th, Diplo made a request for his own temporary restraining order. That request was denied, with the Superior Court of California stating in its explanation that there are insufficient articulable facts of harassment pled in this petition to warrant the court's issuance of emergency temporary orders. In October, a judge extended August's temporary restraining order until December 2023. Auguste is currently enrolled in California's Safe at Home program, which allows victims of DV, stalking, SAHT, and elder independent ABUSC, as well as reproductive health care workers, a substitute mailing address to receive first-class certified and registered mail. She says, here she is. Wow, she's all the way at the end here. Okay, I think it's time the music industry stops enabling the perpetual ABUSE that occurs, Shelly Auguste said in a statement to Pitchfork. I have been silenced for far too long. I hope that with this restraining order, I can finally gain peace and protection. I hope that with the criminal investigation, the justice system gets it right this time. Okay, so wow. So do we get what's going on? So basically right now, Diplo is in the middle of a criminal investigation. He, also has a temporary restraining order against him. His TRO was denied against Shelly. And so, where are all the other accusations? This is why I think this article is really weird. Because there was apparently a woman who was a part of this article, got, cut out of this article, I guess. But then also there's Azelia Banks. And so we're going to play Azelia Banks' post on Instagram and what she had to say about Diplo. And it's very important to tune in about this because it's important to listen to what someone has to say, especially since I haven't seen anyone really boost this other than on Twitter or, maybe on TikTok. But when it comes to publications, this has not been mentioned. So here we go. We're gonna, yeah, definitely. Right there. Okay. Okay. All right, here we go. Trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning.
And furthermore, we're really going to have to correct the score. I was very confused when I was called by Vibe magazine and being told that I was going to be on a cover with Diplo. And I was just like, why am I on a cover with Diplo? Like, I don't even have any Diplo songs. Do any of us even know any Diplo records? No. And no. Do you know the types of things Diplo used to do to me when I was 17, you know what I mean? And broke, and of course when you're 17, you're broke, and you're you got a little bun in your hair with a little bang and shit like that. You're not you don't know your right foundation color yet and all type of shit like that. And I was a little girl, I want a cheeseburger and fries and shit like that. No, do you know the type of just racist, demeaning kind of just if you guys just knew the type of degrading that would do to me, you know what I'm saying? Just kind of gas me and me and make me feel I had to have with him to get beats from him, and I would have with him, and then he'd be like, oh, I'm sending some beats, da da da, I gotta catch this flight, da da da, and I would ask oh, can I order something from room service? And they would say no. Say no. Grimy, you know what I'm saying? You, damn, just sticking your all in this little teenage girl, and she just asked you for a burger and fries, and you said no? Okay. So yeah, I really need everybody to stop running with that narrative of how Diplo found me. Diplo did not find me. I was discovered on MySpace by a guy named 27Clash. Thank you very much.
That's interesting because I even thought that Diplo was the one who discovered Azelia Banks. Did anyone else think that? Like that Diplo was the one who like discovered Azealia Banks? At least that's what I thought. So, you know, this came out. Where the hell is this? And I think Azealia Banks has also said stuff about Diplo in the past too, that were not in favor of Diplo and his, you know, alleged behavior. And I didn't really even see that, you know, be told by any journalist or publication. And remember, you know, to me, there's just something weird happening here because Shelly is not. No, what did Sia sent? Oh yeah, and MIA too. Yeah, MIA too. MIA also had not so favorable things to say about Diplo. And this is the thing though. Why is Shelly again the only person really in this article? When there have been multiple people who have, you know, said their stories, their allegations, etc. And so anyways, the reason why I was also very, you know, upset today. Oh, let me just show this one more time. So does everyone remember the 5 layers? I have it here on my computer. The 5 layers that survivors have to deal with when they come forward, especially when it comes to a public figure, someone who has a lot of power. And so we made my husband actually made this. I explained it to him and then he helped make a graphic for it so I can show everyone how this works. So we obviously have the survivor here at the bottom. So survivor's always at the bottom. And then everything above the survivor is what the survivor is going to have to go through to get some type of justice. And these are the cards that are stacked against the survivor. So you have the enablers here, and enablers are usually, you know, fans, agencies, managers. Those are kind of more the enablers. And then above that is the alleged predators. And then above that is the media. So you got PMC, which I've done a whole video about PMC. You got all of these news outlets. And then above the media is lawyers. And then above the lawyers is the institutions. Now you have to remember here, the institutions are being protected by all of those blockades underneath them. So that is how they're, you know, in their little haven. They totally. And so you got all this little, you know, protection right here. And the lawyers and the media are really intertwined. And there is an incredible journalist by the name of Ronin Farrow. Ronin Farrow's dad actually is Woody Allen, and his mom is Mia Farrow. And obviously, I hope that everybody here sadly knows about the allegations against Woody Allen and Mia Farrow's, you know, daughter, which is Ronin Farrow's sister. So anyways, there's an incredible book that he wrote, and he really goes into detail about what he experienced when he was exposing Harvey Weinstein. And he proves with evidence and his story, etc., that NBC was blocking the story. And there was corruption happening at NBC. And he really breaks down that these lawyers specifically are the ones that are controlling these media outlets, because a lot of these lawyers end up representing media outlets, and they learn how to intimidate media outlets by saying, you know, things like, you don't want to have litigation in your business model, things like that, where, you know, they don't want to spend unnecessary money. They just don't. If anyone can avoid a lawsuit, they will. Litigation sucks. It's horrible. It's a horrible place to be. And corporations don't want to have to spend unnecessary money, you know, on some story that just ends up getting them in a lawsuit. So if lawyers from the other side know exactly what to say, it will get media to either bury the story or string it along long enough until it just kind of fades away. Or the lawyers will get them to sculpt the story in such a way that makes them feel comfortable with it being released. You know, like they'll send this 20-page letter saying blah, 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 blah. And then the media will go, okay, if these are their concerns, we can cut this out. You know what I mean? Like we can still get the story out, but we'll cut out this, and then we'll put this here. And then we definitely won't say that now because that's how it happens. So you got media and lawyers right there, alleged predators and enablers. And it's a whole journey for most survivors coming up against very, very powerful individuals. So moving forward, we're now going to hear from what Shelly had to say about the Pitchfork article, and we're also going to hear from Gabs. Gabs sent in a letter to ePredators to be read by me today, and it will be her statement when it comes to what she witnessed and what she feels about this Pitchfork article, and it seems like they're not feeling good about it. So here is Shelly August's tweet. She says, so let's just begin. Pitchfork tweets, a woman told police that she believes, sorry, what is this tweet? Dude, get straight to it. Diplo is under investigation. He's under investigation. A woman has made a police report, and now he is currently under investigation. It's like a messenger. A woman told police that she just believes, not that she had to turn in evidence of any kind, allegedly, etc. Just she believes. Diplo distributed NUDE photographs of her without permission. A lawyer, Bryan Freedman for Diplo, says the woman has been orchestrating an ongoing smear campaign against the superstar producer. And this is just more of the same. Now, Shelly's response. She goes, a woman told police she believes. I agree. A woman already starting with that is just straight up misogyny. It's like the superstar and the woman. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck is this? What the hell? No one even knows. Like Azelia Banks said, who knows Diplo's songs? I only know, I think, the Beyonce one, Girls Run the World, and I don't know if that's necessarily a lie. Or MIA song, Paper Planes, of course. That's going to be the second one for sure. Okay. Anyways, what has he done lately? So, anyways, she goes, a woman told police she believes. No, I did not just tell police. It was thoroughly investigated, verified, and submitted to the LA prosecutors. I was also granted a temporary restraining order against him. This headline is odd, but okay. So you're seeing the survivor's perspective on what this headline is, kind of the narrative that's kind of going out there. And I have to agree, in my personal opinion, the way that tweet is just a woman told something. You know, women just talking. You know, they're just saying they believe. No biggie. We'll see. Women be lying and telling and snitching. You know what I mean? Like snitching and telling, and what? She had to probably go in there and like show what's going on. And if I remember correctly from my interview with Shelly Auguste on ePredators, I remember her saying that the person who showed her that this happened to her is going to be a witness for her. So apparently there is also allegedly a witness for Shelly when it comes to what happened. Shelly is not necessarily alone. Like, that's the problem I have with these narratives, is I just feel this aloneness when we just already went through Azelia Banks, what she has to say as of recent. Kesha also pulled out of, that show. There was another lawsuit that I guess was mentioned in the Pitchfork article. But, there's been a lot of allegations here. So it's interesting that Shelly's always alone. Okay, so Gabs. So Gabs was also on ePredators Daily. I had an interview with her. She showed us screenshots, screen recordings, etc. When she was 15 years old, Diplo reached out to her, reminding everyone who's just tuning in now. He said, you look like you're 15, and that's because she allegedly, she showed her passport to us. She was 15, and he gave a heart emoji and wanted to hang out with her as well. So Gabs goes through her tweets today. So it just really feels like I don't know. To be honest with you, Shelly's tweet made more sense to me than an entire article. Like, if she just tweeted that, I'd be like, okay, I get what's going on. All right, so here is Gabs. She says, Diplo's attempt to broom me as a child a series. As young girls, we are broomed by society to accept and be comfortable with men's advances. We are taught that male kindness and contact should be engaged without a fear of being rude or dismissive. And this is very true. Give some heart emojis in the chat if you agree with what she is saying here, because I think a lot of us can. She goes, as a 15-year-old child, I was no stranger to being rampantly approached by older men. I would always make it my objective to put out my age in hopes it would be a powerful deterrent. Boy, was I so wrong. Diplo made his first point of contact with me in 2016 when I was 15 years old. I'm not showing this image in case YouTube, whatever, because yeah, that's right. The interview that I did with Gabs, there was a lot of problems with it because, you know, this is what we were talking about that day. A few things to note. He saw my profile on my best friend's Instagram and contacted me from there. And this is so sad. Pitchfork and the journalist, whoever, you know, Gabs is having to tell her story without the protection of the lawyers that someone like Pitchfork has. What's the point of hiring these lawyers and spending all of this money if you guys can't even tell like a survivor story with potential evidence here? What's going on? It's kind of a waste of money, in my opinion. Gabs has no protection. No protection. And she's going on Twitter and doing it. She's going on Twitter and doing it. And let me guess, this tweet might have gotten more views in that article. Because that's the day we're living in, that's where it's going. But sadly, it puts survivors in a very vulnerable position where they don't have this crisis manager. They don't have these lawyers, et cetera, protecting them. They're going out into the wild. Literally going out into the wild. Can be sued at any moment. You know, but Pitchfork, this huge corporation that I think is owned by Comday, whatever the fuck is it called? Comcast. Yeah, Comcast. Billionaires, millionaires, you know, they can even afford a lawsuit, to be quite honest with you. I don't even think a lawsuit would really hurt their pockets. Crazy, right? Right. They have money disposable for lawsuits. And here is Gabs, you know, putting her story on the line here. And this is a shame on Pitchfork because it's going to come out anyways. And now you leave Gabs unprotected. Boo, Pitchfork. Be better. Be better, Pitchfork. You're not. Just do your job. Okay, moving on. I had my DOB in my bio. I asked for his Snapchat as I was encouraged to do so by my friends who were friends. I didn't know who Diplo was. I don't like electronic music. It seems like a lot of them don't even know who Diplo is. Diplo then adds me on Snapchat. The first thing he did was send me a picture of him in see-through blank, otherwise completely blank. From what I could only deduce was his Los Angeles home. I was a 16-year-old girl, which, by the way, you guys, there is a snapshot screen recording of Diplo's, DM with Gabs. And so, you know, there is the screen recording screenshot, blue tick, you know, whatever. Pitchfork. Okay, our contact remained sporadic until he asked me to hang out with him during his upcoming trip to London where I live, which there is a screen recording of this as well. I want to make it very clear that I declined all of his advances and continue to do so throughout. Diplo knew where I lived as I naively and stupidly had my geolocation on Snapchat accessible to all, which, by the way, she did show me a screen recording of Diplo following her on Snapchat and following her on Instagram. He unfollowed her now, but I have the screen recording of him following Gabs. So a lot of this kind of, checks out. Diplo knew I lived there naively, but okay, in 2017, not going to give the exact date for privacy reasons, Diplo was in London. He sends me a Snapchat with his location, a very popular spot and hotel stay among celebrities in London. And then she also has a receipt here. Diplo then sends 17-year-old me another Snapchat inviting me to his hotel room in the hotel that coincidentally happens to be on my road. I decline. I am purposefully leaving out details that I cannot mention for fear of my safety/legal implications. And it's like, why did you not just put Gabs in this story? Like, she's got receipts and, what is the point of this? You put my open letter from Instagram as a story, Pitchfork? What, I'm guessing that Milo shouldn't have Bryan Freedman yet. That's the only thing I can feel. Like, why were they able to show my open letter on Pitchfork within 48 hours and Gab's story is cut out of here when she has, screen recording, snapshot, etc. It's not adding up for me personally. I'm very deeply confused. Is everyone else confused? I'm confused. Okay, so in summer, decided to make a report with the Met Police UK. My experience was awful. Of course, going to the police as a survivor is an awful experience. Dipshit then found out that I had filed with the Met Police UK through Pitchfork. Oh, look at what we have here. So I guess the Met Police, found out that Pitchfork was obviously snooping around because they're going to need the police report. They might need a statement from obviously the police, which, these things, make sense. But what happens there, and what I've learned actually when it comes to studying, other cases, for example, like even the Harvey Weinstein situation, they basically say that the DA, was whatever. I mean, Harvey was paying out and getting things buried in Ronin Farrow's book. And that's very scary position to put a survivor in because now, it's going to trickle down to who's being accused. So this person's going to know what's going on, which is a scary place to be for a survivor because you're wanting to kind of like keep it as safe as possible. You want to keep it as safe as possible. So dipshit then found out that I had filed with the Met Police UK through Pitchfork. So put this survivor in potential harm. Pitchfork. To an article that I was supposed to feature in telling my story. This, to my utter dismay, got pulled. A friend of mine told me dipshit was in London. He had no shows scheduled. The Met Police UK called me with great urgency, telling me that dipshit's British lawyers, he's got Brit lawyers now, are breathing down their necks, sending very threatening emails, demanding to know more about the investigation. Not good. Now, why on earth would Diplo have UK lawyers if he stands so strongly as an innocent man? This is a direct admission of guilt for Gabs. It demonstrates that Diplo offends so much that he can't even remember the extent that he took things. I am just another number. Seeing and being so enveloped with the inner workings and deep-rooted corruption, it's taught me that these ABUSERS have their escape route figured out from the get-go. They drop as much money as required and with stop at nothing to bury their demonic path of destruction. Diplo is a blank, 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 blank. Young, black, and ethnic women, blank. And she says he is a danger to society. There is a huge amount of information missing from this post, but this isn't the last time you will hear from me. I have to move with intention and be very careful with what I say. I am not afraid of Diplo. I am not afraid of his team. But you know who was? Can we go full screen for a second? You know who was afraid of Diplo and his team? Pitchfork. This young, she's younger than me, woman who has none of what Pitchfork has, is not afraid of Diplo and his team. I mean, you guys, Pitchfork, what's going on, man? Like, come on. What's going on, guys? What's going on? You fuck up Shelly's, headline when it comes to what that arbitration was about. Didn't care about that. Really created a horrible cycle with TMC, etc. And then, all of this is all adding up. I'm not really liking what I see here as a survivor. So she ends it with a special thank you to Alexa Nicholas and DIPLO'S survivors who have strengthened, uplifted, and validated my emotional grievances. I love you all. And she puts hashtag power to survivors, hashtag eat predators, and, we got R. Kelly in there, hashtag white R. Kelly, and hashtag, yeah, we got it. First of all, I just want to say that I'm sure maybe there are Bryan Freedman watching this, his paralegals might be watching this, and, when I read this, now as a survivor, I'm always thinking about what the other side is like, thinking about. And the first thing that I think about is how there's this whole new thing when it comes to conspiracies. When there is more than one reported survivor, the new thing is that it's a conspiracy. If it's one, it is just a liar. She's crazy. He's crazy. They're crazy. And I want to just say that survivors inspire, and honestly, predators conspire, And if you notice, this is just in general here, right? You'll notice a lot of these alleged predators hang out with one another. What's with that? Like Diplo has his own allegations, and he is best friends with my predator. They do shows together. They do this together. And it's always just very interesting to me because my grandpa, my papuli, used to tell me just like this kind of funny thing. And it's not always true, right? It's not always true. But he used to say, show me who you're friends and I'll tell you who you are. And it always really stood out to me because it's not always true, because we sometimes fall into groups that we don't necessarily agree with. But at the same time, there is something that maybe you are allowing or you're being lackadaisy about that you shouldn't be. And it does reflect where you're currently at in that situation. And it's just it always freaked me out that, when I first saw, so when I came forward with my open letter, the next day, Diplo was doing a show with Michael Milosh, my predator. And I reached out to Diplo because I didn't know Diplo had allegations. So I reached out to Diplo being like, yo, did you not read my open letter? Like, look, want you to know. I was so naive. Like, I thought that this person was going to be like, oh, I feel, wow, let me ask. Or like, I'm so sorry that you're communicating this or something. I don't know. I literally was that naive back then. And he left me unread. Now I'm blocked. After I protested Diplo, obviously I'm blocked. But I'm blocked by a lot of people that after I speak out, that happens. Survivors are always getting punished. But anyways, he left me unseen. And I thought it was very peculiar. So I took a screenshot of it and was posting it on my Instagram stories being like, what the fuck? DIPLO'S playing a show with, you know, this man who broomed me, etc. I showed evidence of this, literal evidence of this. And why is he playing? And I got, you guys, I got like hundreds of DMs of allegations, people saying things, hearing things. And that's when I actually ended up reading the article, the first one about Shelly. When it came to, I think, Lisa Bloom or something, I saw an article and I was like, whoa, okay, so maybe this is not a person I should ever be messaging. And okay, that, you know, it shocked me, to be honest, because I was that naive. I was really, really naive. And so anyways, that's a little side note there, but it's just so weird. Like, and then I find out Bryan Freedman, this is getting weird. You know what I mean, guys? That's all I'm going to say. Like, it's just getting very, very weird. Too many. Oh yeah. Here, wait, guys, check this out. So this is the article. This is the article that was about Miloš. Okay, so it says, rise, Michael Miloš accused of S and PA by ex-wife, issues denial. And it goes into just right here. It says, in an open letter, here it is. Okay, in an open letter called Groomed by the Groom, Nicholas claims she began talking to Miloš when she was 16 and he was 33, an assertion she previously made in 2018 interview with Verse. Nicholas also said that when she turned 18, she met Miloš in Berlin, where he allegedly coerced her into blank, 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 blank. She also detailed accusations of physical A. So here you go, you guys. See, this was, and what date was this? March 17th. I think I made my post the 15th. I'm pretty positive it was like the 15th or something. It was definitely the 15th. So a couple days later, Pitchfork just puts out, you know, this story that is an open letter. It's not legal documents. It's, you know, screenshots. So I'm very curious. Again, I just really can't stress this enough. Where is Gabs? Where is Gabs, Pitchfork? Because it doesn't seem fair. And also, why didn't anyone mention Azelia Banks? It's just very peculiar. So, oh, okay. You know what? Should I say it? Should I say who I've kind of heard allegedly was the crisis manager in this? I'm going to wait for the chat. Should I show who was allegedly, apparently, the crisis manager when it came to, I guess, this Pitchfork article? With Alexa, we're doing the Lord's work. Nat, you're amazing. I see you, Nat. I'm waiting because I think I'm a little bit delayed. Let's see what the chat's gonna say. Yes. Okay. Yes. Nope. Not Bryan. But yes. Okay. Here we got a lot of yes. All right. So this is anonymous sources, which, you know, I do want to remind these guys that, you know, survivors are connecting. Okay. Just like, I guess, alleged predators sometimes do. But survivors are connecting, and, you know, there's a network. There's a network now of survivors, and we're all kind of looking out for one another. And things are going through the grapevine. Things are traveling. Information is starting to travel. And so, you know, let's just say I heard, wait, there's the coffee. That's amazing. So I heard allegedly that I guess there was a crisis manager. And let's just pull up my laptop. Here it comes. Oh, Edendale Strategies. Who are you? Who are you? Very simple website, by the way. Nice. Doesn't really say much. But let's read what Edendale Strategies is and does. Edendale Strategies is a consulting firm focused on communications, counsel, and crisis management. Edendale strategy helps our clients to hone and convey their messaging effectively, especially in high-stakes situations where there is little to no margin for error. As we do so, we work hand in glove. Woof, hand in glove with lawyers. See, this is what I didn't know. I thought these, crisis managers just worked with like these artists, etc., these actors. Apparently, they also work with these lawyers. So it says C-suite executives, in-house publicists, and entertainment industry representatives to develop and implement complex and time-sensitive plans. Our focus is always on identifying and serving our clients' medium and long-term interests, as well as providing immediate assistance. Our clients include Fortune 100 companies, major civic institutions, and prominent charities, as well as legendary sports franchises. God, I brag much. High net worth individuals. Wow, it's really getting to the barrel here. High net worth individuals. Wow, Edendale. Good for you. And some of the world's most famous actors. Ooh, directors, writers, and musicians. I wonder what musicians. Edendale Strategies was founded by Tony Freinberg, which we're going to show who these people are. In 2018, he is publicly recognized expert in the field of communications with an established record of success in crisis management and extensive award-winning experience in journalism, entertainment, and consulting. Now, this is so weird because obviously during P. Diddy's public lawsuit when it came to Cassie, I learned about this crisis manager that's working for Bill Cosby, spoke out about P. Diddy, and honestly, he was just a joke in my opinion. But I started to learn more and more about this crisis management situation. And apparently these crisis managers will literally be such good media experts, have media literacy, and they will go to these media outlets and know how to that's their job, right? I mean, that's like legit their job. And this happens behind the scenes, right? Behind the scenes, where I only thought like lawyers were the ones who were doing all of that. But I guess there's also now crisis management firms like Edendale Strategies that's what they do for a living. They do that, and they represent. Did I see here superstars? They might as well have put superstars in there. We represent superstars. Okay, so here he is. So one of them, I guess his name is Curtis Vogel. He's the vice president at Edendale Strategies. This is how I found him. I was just trying to figure out what exactly they do here. But an interesting thing that I noticed. So I finished Ronin Farrow's book almost, and obviously he spoke a lot about NBC News and how NBC News was obviously extremely corrupt, and they were protecting Harvey Weinstein, and there was a lot of serious issues there at NBC when Ronin Farrow was there. And look at this, you guys. I like looking at people's LinkedIns because it's very interesting what you end up finding. You just look at all their past jobs. He was a Today Show producer, I guess, March 2004 to January 2016, which is around the time a little bit that Ronin Farrow was beginning to work there, etc. So I guess he has expertise when it comes to producing news shows. You know what I mean? So what is it? Dealing with talent. Not only dealing with talent, but dealing with the studios, dealing with the media outlets themselves, which is, interesting. And so I guess he got a lot of knowledge there. And then, he goes over here to telecommunications, started a newsroom. And so, see, you can tell he's learning a lot probably about media and how it works and what's the BTS when it comes to this. And then he becomes the vice president of Edendale Strategies. And he is currently there. Now, there's another one as well. So this is who he is. You got, wow. All right, cool. And then here is Tony Freinberg. He also was a associate producer at NBC from January 2010 to July 2015. So I'm guessing that they met there And I just find it weird because NBC does not have the best reputation during that time. Like, I almost would want to chuck that on my resume. You know what I mean? Like, if that was on my resume during that time, I'd be like, you know what? No one needs to know about this because that doesn't have the best reputation. It actually now has a reputation during that time, or at least 1 year after. I think, wasn't it Matt Lauer too? I'm pretty sure it was Matt Lauer too. They knew for years that Matt Lauer had these allegations and were allegedly protecting Matt Lauer. And so not a good rep. I personally would not want this on my resume. But sure enough, here it is. And so, you know, I just want people to really understand that this is what is going on behind the scenes when it allegedly, and also from my own fucking personal experience, I've seen it dealing with journalists and talking with them. I would hear how the other side was coming back. So this shit does happen, period. End of discussion. It happens. This is how it happens. And that is the process of the articles that we end up seeing when there is a very powerful person. The reason why I think my story was able to get published onto Pitchfork was because Milos didn't have a lawyer then, probably. He doesn't have like a crisis management team. And so therefore he didn't have the infrastructure to break it down. He didn't have the infrastructure, but you know, someone like Diplo can, and it's just important for us to be mindful of these things, because then when we read something, we know the possibilities of what could be happening behind the scenes, and it just makes you a very knowledgeable person, honestly, so that you're not just taking these things at face value. Because remember, public relations, PR, was propaganda. So we don't want to take things at face value. A couple of things that I want to just say, the 5 breakdowns that came from Ronin Farrow's book, and it's really important to just listen in on this because he had some really great keynotes. Yeah, you can show it. So the power dynamics of journalism, Ketch and KILL sheds light on the unequal power dynamics within the journalism industry. It highlights how powerful can manipulate and control media outlets to protect themselves from exposure. The book emphasizes the need for greater accountability and transparency within the industry. 2, the role of investigative journalism. The book showcases the essential role of investigative journalism in uncovering and exposing powerful individuals who ABUSC their positions. It highlights the importance of brave reporters like Ronin Farrow, who risk their careers to bring truth to light, despite facing intimidation and threats. 3, the silencing of victims. Ketch and KILL exposes the techniques and tactics used by powerful figures to intimidate and silence victims of SA and harassment. It sheds light on the extent to which victims are often discredited or coerced into silence, perpetuating a culture of fear and impunity. Number 4, the impact of corporate interests. The book delves into the influence of corporate interests on the media landscape. It reviews how media conglomerates can manipulate stories, suppress reporting, and protect powerful individuals due to financial and reputational considerations. This raises questions about media ethics and the need for independent investigative reporting. Number 5 is the final one, the importance of speaking truth to power. My favorite part. Ketch and KILL reinforces the significance of speaking truth to power, even in the face of adversity. It highlights the courage of whistleblowers, victims, and journalists who risk their livelihoods to expose wrongdoing. The book encourages readers to support and amplify those voices writing for justice and accountability. And I just think, you know, that's what I try to do here at ePredators. Is literally that. And you just being here is helping amplify individuals that are doing this. Pitchfork, in my opinion, I didn't feel the truth to power really in that article. I didn't feel it in the tweet. Something just felt very weird. Wait, where is it? Oh, this is funny. Powerful men always claim victimhood when they are exposed. Interesting. But I wanted to read one thing. Where is it? This is it, I think. I thought, yes. The truth doesn't get you ratings, it gets you lawsuits. And honestly, you know, that's the hard part about telling the truth is I don't think that many people necessarily even want to hear it. But regardless of that, it's so important to do it. Because really, at the end of the day, I only have one lifetime, right? We only have one lifetime, or maybe some people think we have many. But for me, I believe I only have one lifetime. And it's important for us as human beings to do the right thing, be better, speak truth to power. Because honestly, you'll be able to sleep at night when you do so. And it's so important that we're able to feel that we can. And anyone trying to bully us out of it, I'm speaking to Pitchfork here. I don't know if anyone bullied you out of putting Gabs in there. I don't know what fully happened. Heard things, I've read things here. I don't know. But Pitchfork, be better, dude, because honestly, now I can't recommend Pitchfork to survivors that are tuning in here because you might tell your story to them for 2 to 3 months and you just get shelved. And then you have to put your neck on the line, whatever, stick your neck out on your own on Twitter. So I don't recommend Pitchfork. If you are a survivor and there is a public figure that you are thinking about coming forward about, wouldn't recommend Pitchfork, in my opinion. Because I don't like what I'm reading. I didn't like what I saw. I didn't like having to see Shelly and Gabs do this. I don't like that Azelia Banks wasn't in there, Kesha. There's just a lot of things that just did not feel right. And also there were things that they didn't even quote from Shelly's actual lawsuit, et cetera. They made it seem like a he said, she said kind of situation. And I don't necessarily like that personally. Oh, I want to say this also. Something about power, which whenever I'm like getting like my sixth sense going, where I'm like, something's not feeling right. I just read this incredible quote about journalism and the importance of free press, and why free press matters is because free press is for speaking truth to power. And anytime lawyers are dictating media, that's a threat to freedom of press. That's a threat to it. And it's a very dangerous, slippery slope, to be quite honest with you, because then have very important stories / crimes buried. And it is a very slippery slope. But when I was thinking about it, I was like, you know what? Why can you never pinpoint it? You know, like I always feel it around, like something just ominous. I'm always feeling just gut feeling like something's weird here. You know what I mean? And there's this quote here about power. And he says here, you cannot see power. You cannot hear it or touch it or tuck it in a backpack. You cannot text it. You cannot shake hands with it. You cannot buy it a beer. You cannot send it to its room without supper. Power is pure concept, elusive, intangible, a shadow here, a bit of mist there, a rag of fog, and a thread of smoke, a hunch and a wish, and a wodge of accumulated intention, like the wind inside a bellying sail. Power can only be spotted by what it does to things that do exist. And let me just tell you, when I see how survivors are affected by things like Pitchfork's article, I don't know who's really behind it, right? I can't say, because power is invisible. You can't really see power, but you can feel it. You can feel it. Not only can you feel it, you can see the cause and effect of it by what it does to another thing. And I've seen what it does to survivors, and so I know it's there. Is what I'm trying to say is I know it's there. It's definitely there. And it's important for all of us to not let it slide, honestly, to not let it slide. Another thing I wanted to say today is that Shelly does have a, oh, wait. I want to read. I do want to make sure that I read Gabs statement here. Correct. Okay. So this comes from Gabs to Eat Predators. Hi, David. I think it's gross that the music video that you are in is still on YouTube. I agree, David. Has been out there. YouTube should be ashamed. I agree. And I'm sure he's like monetized off of it too, which is even grosser. Thanks, David, for saying that. I really appreciate you. Okay, so Gab's statement. After reading Pitchfork's article, the startling absence of content is what immediately jumped out to me. As a witness to DIPLO'S predacious and perverse behavior, I have been inundated with news about DIPLO via sources such as Eat Predators. The lack of coverage by Pitchfork's final edit that was passed through numerous rounds of avoidant legal whitewashing by lawyers was insulting to survivors. The article was written mechanically, which I honestly felt too, just personal opinion, and diluted any human component of the very harrowing ABUSE. The dehumanization of survivors shouldn't be the tone of journalism. Rinsing testimony of detail is how you avoid litigation, not how you accurately cover a story and its facts. Beautiful, Gabs. That's so well said. Pitchfork completely omitted DIPLO'S exclusive abuse of Black women and children, which is key to understanding his MO. Pitchfork initially wanted to include my story in the article. They requested my testimony, evidence, and comment, including the police report I filed in London. Over the course of several weeks, they asked me to clarify details and revise comments I had written numerous times to clear the editing phase. This felt like an utter sterilization of my experience. Pitchfork received direct communication from the Metropolitan Police's press team in the form of a requested comment confirming the report made was to do with offenses involving a child. To conclude, Pitchfork failed to include my story, and Thomas Wesley Pence, is that your name, dude? Wes Pence. Testimony has been given more weight than both mine and Shelly Auguste's. And Azelia Banks, right? And I guess MIA too had her own accusations. And, you know, and there's also whispers of other things that I hear. I'm here, you know, we on the internet, if anyone's on TikTok, et cetera, we've been hearing whispers about this for quite a long time. And so I want to thank Gabs for trusting Eat Predators daily to read what she had to say. And I think it was really important that she was heard since Pitchfork did not allow her to be. One more thing for the end of the night. I know this was a long episode, but trust me, like, it just really is important. And if you can share this to friends of yours, et cetera, who maybe don't understand these dynamics when it comes to survivors or is on the fence, like, please share it. Really important. And here is Shelly Auguste's GoFundMe. I always want to say Auguste. Because it feels like that, especially that power suit right there. Okay, so this is Shelly's GoFundMe. You know, Shelly is in the middle of litigation. She obviously currently has a temporary restraining order against DIPLO. And we did post this when we interviewed Shelly. And so, you know, if you feel inclined to help support a survivor who, you know, in my personal opinion, seems to be speaking truth to power. And, you know, they don't have the resources that the individuals have that they're going up against. They don't have Edendale strategies to help them. So, you know, it does rely on community. So this is her GoFundMe. If you can even give $1, because there's 106 people in here right now. And if each person gave $1, that ends up being $100. So whatever you can give, if you feel inclined to, please do. This is going towards Shelly's legal fees because unfortunately litigation is extremely expensive and she does not have the resources. So please, if you can. Oh yeah, I can definitely do that. Here. Which is why, you guys, this is why Eat Predators Daily is very important, because this is not happening really anywhere else. There's not many survivor-led platforms that can be sustainable, etc., that are doing this, Monday through Friday. So the ways in which you guys have been supporting this channel, seriously, this is just incredible, because this means a lot to other survivors out there. That Gabs, for example, didn't get to have her statement be heard in the Pitchfork article. And so I'm here doing it. And I guess I'm not afraid of Diplo or his team, because it's a First Amendment right to be able to speak and also speak our opinion. And, I do feel like here at Eat Predators Daily, we do a lot of investigative journalism, and it is, we should have freedom of press, and it should not be intimidated, threatened, etc. Right? So, that's that. And then, wait, guys, by the way, here's a hyperlink of it. Just show it really quickly. Here's the hyperlink that it was. Remember when I was speaking about earlier that Pitchfork had the wrong headline? Look. It says, Diplo wins ruling against woman in revenge P. Like, what? That's not even Who fact-checked that, dude? Apparently, no one cared, right? No one cared until the survivor had to do the emotional labor. So, moving on, we have... there's two things I want to read. We have Survivor of the Week. So every single Thursday, I will be highlighting a survivor who sent in an email to eatpredators@gmail.com. So if you want to be a survivor of the week, which is important because obviously I'm talking about a lot of high-profile survivors, alleged predators, and I don't want to lose sight of the community, and not everybody has their trauma, sadly, trending. And so I want to be able to boost your stories. And so please send an email to eatpredators@gmail.com with the subject Survivor of the Week. And just at the end of it, say that Alexa Nicholas is allowed to mention the story on Eat Predators Daily. So don't show my screen. I'm just going to hide this person's email address, but I am going to say the Survivor of the Week is Madison. Madison, I'm not sure if you're in here. Hopefully, she ends up getting to see this. But she said I give my consent for my story to be shared online. My survivor story is very similar to yours, and it makes me feel less alone. I was groomed from the age of 17 by an at the time 21-year-old local musician who later essayed me. Towards the end of the relationship, he blanked me once when I said no to S. I've struggled with it as he ended up finding out that I was accusing him and he blocked me, leading to his friends blocking me. I've been blocked too, Madison. I understand. He even posted that he only keeps photos of us up because he has a humiliation kink. Wow. When he recalls the time his friend told him they don't even feel bad for him anymore. I've had a mutual tell me that he told her a different story and told me she wouldn't unfriend him because she didn't know who to believe after I disclosed my essay. She didn't even read my last message to her about it. I feel for you, Madison. What I'm saying is I appreciate the work you do and I feel validated by it because for so long I told myself my trauma wasn't bad enough and that others had it worse. And through your work, I've been able to realize that it isn't a competition. I also feel less alone knowing you got left unread regarding your trauma too, and in knowing that you are trying to change the social perceptions in place that lead to that behavior. I plan on eventually getting a master's in counseling or social work to help others who have been through what you and I have. Aw. Your activism is important and an inspiration for me to help people. I plan on making a song about being a survivor and including survivorship in a book I'm writing. And you have motivated me to do those things because of how important it is. Sorry for the long message. I hope you have a good night. Madison, thank you so much for sending this. that meant a lot for me. I wasn't expecting there to be such a nice comment about what I'm doing, and so that was totally unexpected there at the end. And I just want to say, Madison, thank you so much for being part of this community, and this community really makes me feel I want to do it forever, even though I am triggered some days. And today, obviously, I came on here just not feeling good. But you all honestly do make me feel better and feel like there is support for survivors out there. And seeing even Christian rocking the Power to Survivors sweatshirt in London right now, and he's an ally, brought tears to my eyes, which, by the way, I guess I should show everyone, if you want to support the channel. Another way is, the merchandise. It helps create sustainability for e-predators. And yeah, he was rocking this hoodie, and it brought tears to my eyes because last night I was getting a lot of messages from survivors showing me how bad the harassment is for them. Someone is going up against a very public figure, and I was getting messages of what the online community was doing to them, and it broke my heart. I mean, I was very upset last night. And then I saw Christian's photo this morning, and it reminded me of why I'm here. I'm really, really trying to create a safe environment for survivors and to really help change the narrative and, give the power back. And this is the way that I'm found a way to do it, I guess. And so, it means a lot to me, Madison, that you said that. And I can't wait to see and hear all the wonderful things that you're about to do with your book, etc. And it was very nice to meet you, even though I'm not really meeting you. But it's nice to know you, Madison. And thank you so much for being here. So yeah, that's the episode for, am I forgetting anything? Oh, tomorrow for Patreon members and Chef's Kiss, I don't know. We have the live Q&A. And for the YouTube members, you won't be able to ask questions. Patreon, you will be. And I think it's the $11 tier. I can't look in here right now. You got it. Yeah, it's going to be on YouTube. And so I'm very excited about that, though, because it's going to be really nice to connect with everybody, and members only. So only members, YouTube members, Patreon will be able to be part of the live Q&A. And as long as they're respectful questions, I will be answering them. And it's going to be really nice to connect with you guys and be a part of this community. I want to hear the questions. I want to connect with you all. So I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. And we have the first day of Jeanette McCurdy's podcast, Hard Feelings, for Chef's Kiss, and also for the Patreon. I'm really, really looking forward to this. We're going to be listening to each episode of her podcast and discussing our own hard feelings, reflecting on her vulnerability, and I think going to start doing these exercises where we start recording feelings that come up. And we don't have to share it with one another necessarily until maybe the end. We can share what we feel comfortable sharing with one another. But I think it will be nice because a lot of us don't have access to therapy at all times. We don't have access to a friend sometimes, and we can always rely on ourselves and also hopefully this community too. So I'm really looking forward to this, and that will be tomorrow. So I think it will be 3 p.m. will be the live Q&A, and then 3:30 will be the Hard Feelings with Jeanette McCurdy. And you guys are amazing. Just thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting this channel. Thank you for listening to my rants and listening to Gabs and listening to Shelly. And, you guys honestly mean the world to me and give me a lot of hope. So thank you so much for being here. And I'll see some of you tomorrow. Thank you guys so much. And thumbs down, Pitchfork. Bye, guys.